Hello there once again, and welcome to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. Glad you're with us. We're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues, and today we welcome in John Doak.
John Doak, the insurance commissioner of the state of Oklahoma, ran a very good statewide race and soundly defeated his opponent. He's now been on the job a little more than a year, and we're going to be finding out what he's been doing and what he looks forward to doing.
John Doak, the insurance commissioner, today on The Verdict. We'll be right back.
Positive Tomorrows is a school focused on serving the needs of homeless children, particularly in terms of education. Currently, about half of them are living in local homeless shelters.
I don't know where I live.
It's really important that they see us as a place where they can be a child and not have to worry about adult responsibilities.
My dad says he didn't go to school when he was a kid. I think he's just playing.
As I watch that child grow and change, I watch them be able to take on responsibility.
I would love to teach people.
About 5 years ago, Positive Tomorrows lost a significant part of federal grant funding. Thankfully, Chesapeake stepped forward with some significant funding.
These kids get lost in the crowd because they weren't given an opportunity to figure out who they were.
I'm gonna be a ballerina.
I know that we are making a difference in who they can become.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today we're really pleased to welcome the Honorable John Doak, the Commissioner of the state of Oklahoma. John was elected about a year and a half ago and has been serving as insurance commissioner since that time. He did his undergraduate work at the University of Oklahoma. He founded his own Farmers Insurance Group agency in Tulsa. Later left the insurance business in the field and joined the executive ranks of several companies. At the insurance department, he's implemented several reform measures, several streamlining measures that we will find out about today. This is his first visit to The Verdict. We sure are glad to have you.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here today. Thank you, sir.
Well, how have you adjusted to the role of insurance commissioner just over a year on the job?
Yeah, we hit the ground running shortly after taking office. We had some weather in Oklahoma, as we do from time to time, from up at the Grand Lake area, 48 inches of snow, and we moved right into there to the tornado season and some of the things that happen around the state. But that was getting your feet wet, trial by fire, really, and we had the wildfires all around the state, and really have spent most of my time out around in the 77 counties, meeting with folks and talking with them about the insurance areas which I regulate, and really introducing them to the department, because it's been a long time since they've had a commissioner. I think I'm the first commissioner in state's history to visit all 77 counties and kind of get a pulse for what's happening around the state. So it's been a very, very busy year.
Have you made all 77 since you've been elected?
I have. I made all 77 when I was running for office, and I made all 77 my first year in office. Wow. And we will be completed with the 77 county tour, and it's my commitment to do that every year I'm in office, because we had such great feedback from around the state, meeting with business leaders, talking about insurance issues, from health care to uninsured motorist issues. There's a lot of things on our table.
Do we have any insurers who are willing to stay in the state after all these calamities?
It's been, it's a healthy balance that we have to keep for rates and to be able to keep the consumer protections in place. And I'm an advocate of free markets and letting them be able to operate, but also very, very strong consumer protections to make sure that the consumer's claims are paid in a timely manner. but with the amount of damage that we've had all across the United States, has been really at historic levels this past year.
How does your office interact with the catastrophic losses that have taken place in the different areas? And you mentioned there's been floods, there's been hail,
Yes, sir.
there's been snow, you name it.
Yep.
In Oklahoma's
Wildfires.
experience.
Yeah, earthquakes.
Yeah.
Lincoln County, 5.6.
How does that interact with your office?
Well, we're there to be the backstop, to make sure that the clients and the consumers' claims are paid and the insurance companies are treating people fairly, and we regulate their solvency is the number one issue. Number two issue is consumer protections, to make sure that they have the ability to pay claims, and then they do it in a timely manner, and they uphold their contracts, terms, and provisions that they have, but also out there to be boots on the ground, feet on the street, to be in the areas, rural and urban, wherever these instances might occur, from wildfires to earthquakes to tornadoes. First time ever to have an insurance commissioner on site. We formed a catastrophe team to be able to help get a consumer back up and operating quickly, get their claims paid, and that's something that we've been very, very proud of. When I got to the insurance department, my desk was very, very clean. There was no process to be able to interact with the insurance companies and be out there for consumers on a very timely, quick basis. I've walked into people's driveways when there's no home there. We just had a tornado conference here in Oklahoma City that it's on a national level of what happened in Joplin, and there's no state that knows how to react and be better prepared for a tornado or a natural catastrophe than Oklahoma. So we're really reaching out, working with law enforcement, working with the claims folks, but the front line is why we're doing that is for consumers, to make sure that they know that their insurance commissioner is going to be there and help them get their claim paid.
Well, we couldn't do this show in a more timely time.
Absolutely.
I guess. Now with the Supreme Court, as we sit here today, actually hearing oral argument on the health care.
That's right.
It's called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. The Supreme Court's allocated 3 days. What are your expectations in that regard?
Well, my expectations are that I really have a firm belief in the Supreme Court and the justices that are there, and I believe at no other time in our history as a country has there been more overreach into states' rights and into mandating what individuals must buy. And I think that this individual mandate is the cornerstone of PPACA, Obamacare. I was just in Florida the other day speaking, and it's hard not to separate the two. But the individual mandate, I believe, is what is going to be the crux of the issue, is can you mandate that American consumers buy an insurance policy? And I think that that's hopefully going to be struck down, is my belief. And no one wants more affordable health care than, that's not a Republican or Democrat issue. We all want affordable health care, but in Oklahoma, we mandate that folks buy auto insurance, and yet we have a third highest in the nation of folks driving without auto insurance at a 23-24% level, and that's mandated at a state level. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult, but I'm optimistic that they're going to have a fair hearing of both sides at the Supreme Court, and that it'll probably end up to be a 5-4 decision is the best thing that is the outcome that I see happening.
Yeah, and there may be a consensus that everything you said is accurate, but what sort of safety net do we need, John? How would you redesign what the president was intending to accomplish?
Well, I think there's a number of things. We have here at the state level, we have a bill which is working through, which is an outside of Obamacare, PPACA, private sector solution for what's called associational health care plans. Oklahoma's made up of small businesses. To enable small businesses to band together to buy insurance as a larger employer, to be able to drive down those costs is something that I think Oklahomans want. We want to have our own choices. We want to be able to put the fix together here at the state level. And I think that that's the creativity of the private market is going to survive. It always has in the United States, and I think that's one of the things that we've been leader for. But I think transparency in healthcare is going to come, where you can see exactly what you're paying for is very, very important. So those things I think are on a good step there. Some of the things Dr. Coburn has talked about with the transparency, and some of the other folks that are out there, the leaders in the industry, we begin to move that ball, and consumers are becoming more educated, but the cost of PPACA is going to be staggering. The numbers that keep coming out from the CBO are much higher than what was anticipated, and just the mandates on businesses is going to be overwhelming.
On this associational buying, or small businesses getting together and buying as a buying group, is there any legislation moving in that regard?
So there's an Oklahoma House bill, and we'll have to get you the number of that, but that's actually working its way through right now, and I think it has really some bipartisanship buy-in, because again, it's a private sector solution which enables small businesses to put the controls back into their hands, and their censuses to be, each individual group can be pooled together in some creative ways with the consumer protections that's needed. So I think it's something that's very exciting for our state. But again, those of us that have been talking about Obamacare, we also have to talk about new ideas to help our state and small business.
Yeah, if not that, what?
Yes, sir, that's right.
When you're traveling the state and interacting with people all across the state of Oklahoma, who's the audience? Who's showing up to hear the insurance?
The audience is
commissioner?
business leaders, community leaders, insurance agents. We've put these out and we've had just consumers show up and ask questions. Whenever I'm in a group around the state from all four corners, I can ask in a room, how many of you have been impacted by uninsured motorist or been in an accident with an uninsured motorist? If you're in a room with 10 people, 4 or 5 raise their hand and say, that's been me. What are you doing? And that's something which we're talking about on a daily basis. We put together really an internal team. We've done an independent study of some of the work with the industry, with consumers. We're meeting on a regular basis to talk about that. Some of the new laws that went into force last legislative season, but we're also looking to see, I've ridden with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol on 2 or 3 occasions, been in the vehicle with them and monitored how they can see someone's insurance. And we need to expand that for all law enforcement around the state. Not everyone has that capability. So we're working with the Department of Public Safety, but that is one of the #1 issues that I hear around the state is, what are you doing? There's a lot of law-abiding people out there that buy insurance. Those of us that are paying for insurance that are being impacted by the cost of uninsured drivers.
Right.
So that's a big issue.
Well, I remember one concept, and it's a little more than brainstorming because there's holes in it. But the idea, and I think it was out of California, is they were considering adding a gas tax that would basically create a liability level of car insurance.
Right.
So that anyone who had an accident would be paid out of some state fund that was based in this additional gas tax they would be paying. Right. Your thoughts on that? And I don't know that any state has gone forward with that idea.
I don't know if I would be an advocate of that. I'm more of an advocate of there's a Louisiana system that's out there. We have a new policy on the books that cars can be towed once they're stopped if they're found not to have insurance. But sometimes that's actually problematic for the Oklahoma Highway Patrol and the folks that do that. If you've got a family of 4 in the car, you're going to leave them beside the road, or you're going to drive them up to wherever you might be in Oklahoma. I think Louisiana has an interesting process where they put either take the plate or they put a yellow tag, like a sticker that you see on the side of the road. Some of them have pink tags for disabled vehicles. So I think we begin to have some discussion about maybe a more innovative ways to do this, but get the point across. If someone's a consumer, they're not going to drive very long without a tag on their car. If you're able to get them to point A, they can then get their tag back, but pay the fines and penalties. And I think that part of the process is increasing the amount of pain. Actually, if it's the bottom line is, some folks think it's less expensive to just get a ticket than actually go buy your insurance. And so we need to look at some of those things for them to realize that it may cost them more not to have insurance than to just pay the ticket at the end of the day. So but that is a consumer issue which we hear all the time.
John Doak is our guest today. He's the insurance commissioner for the state of Oklahoma. We'll be right back.
The thing that has made the most sense for me is realizing that I am still an educator, and that is what I do at the Chickasaw Nation. I'm Dr. Amanda Cobb-Greetham. I'm a historian, and I'm Chickasaw. The Chickasaw Cultural Center is amazing. It is a very, very special place devoted to the sharing and to the celebration of Chickasaw history and culture. State-of-the-art technology, exhibits that are not like anything I've ever seen. The Spirit Forest is incredible, and you feel as if you have actually just walked into a forest with huge trees all around you. It's timeless, and yet it's sort of also representative of our time depth, to really just sort of reach through time and touch the past. By the end of the exhibits, you really have a sense of Chickasaw cultural and political resurgence and the extent to which we are a healthy, dynamic, and vital tribe today. Chickasaws have always been an inclusive people. This is something for the whole community and for the state of Oklahoma.
We believe in bulldogs, rams, and Spartans. But above all, we believe in students. Oklahoma's oil and natural gas industry is investing millions in education, equipping over 10,000 teachers with the nation's first energy-based curriculum. We're ensuring every Oklahoma student is equipped to lead America's energy future. Oklahoma's oil and natural gas industry, advancing our state, empowering our nation.
When you have something important to communicate, it becomes clear that there's a lot of competition for your audience's attention. So how can your message stand out and actually resonate with your audience? Legal Graphics has the answers. The team at Legal Graphics will work with you to plan, design, and even test your presentation to ensure your message will be heard and remembered. Call Legal Graphics today to schedule an appointment. The readiness is all.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett and Kent Myers, and we're interviewing John Doak, the insurance commissioner. The 2012 Governor's Budget Book had some really nice things to say about your agency and how they conducted themselves in that first year. Right. Give me some more details.
Absolutely. No, we were able to save the taxpayers of Oklahoma approximately $670,000 over the former administration budget. By statute, our department can
just in 1 year.
Just in 1 year.
Yeah, explain how that works.
Yep. By the fees that are coming in.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some money going in, money coming out.
That's right. The insurance industry in the state of Oklahoma is about a $15 billion industry, and the premium taxes which they pay, I think, is I believe about 1.85%, but that's on the premium taxes for all insurance in the state of Oklahoma. And what happens with that is that funds the firefighters' pension board, the state police pension board. Funds go into that, they go into the general revenue. But our office, by statutory, we can have up to 153 employees. We quickly ratcheted that down a few. And I'd like to say that at the insurance department, we have some great people at the department. Would invite you all to stop by and meet them at some time, but very, very proud of the individuals that work there. We have approximately 123 employees, but we begin to operate the department like a business. We have in different types of controls that are there. But again, to be able to save, we made some realignments of some of the departments, but we're able to save $670,000. Our goal is to become non-appropriated, which is a discussion at the Capitol now. We're regulated by Title 36. I am elected and feel that that's a pretty strong point to be able to maintain the controls there. But running the department like a business is one of the things that I promised to bring my background and experience into that, which I think is proven and besides being out around the state, meeting with Oklahomans. Many Oklahomans don't even know we have an insurance commissioner. So,
let me go back to something that I mentioned in the introduction and ask you to expand on it a little bit. You're now running an insurance department, but you were at an executive level in a couple of different pretty large insurance organizations.
That's right.
Can you tell us about what kind of executive experience you had there?
Yes, I was with formerly, when I started my insurance career, I had a farmer's insurance agency, developed an agency from scratch. So I'm one of the few commissioners in the United States that have ever sold a policy or worked with someone like this across the dinner table, but then moved to working across the boardroom table with a company by the name of Marsh McLennan. It's now Marsh USA. I specialized in different industry segments, working with large case risk management, from transportation to healthcare to many different areas with large companies and dealing with workers' comp issues. I was licensed in over 40 states across the country, so I understand insurance regulation as it looks at from a United States perspective, not just Oklahoma, and where companies want to be located due to workers' comp premiums. But then I moved from there to become the managing director of Aon Risk Services, which is another global insurance company broker, and began to work with companies there. I was on the governor's leadership roundtable for business development. I've worked with companies that have international risk management exposure. So I really feel that my background and experience is very unique for an insurance commissioner because I've been on the other side of the table. I've not been a regulator my entire life or career. I've been out there working with companies and understand the amount of regulation that's put on them. And I think in many cases, my involvement with the NAIC, National Association of Insurance Commissioners, that has been seen. I'm known as a regulator with an opinion because I do believe that we can regulate ourselves right out of business. But these companies, we want to make our state attractive for business, like what the Governor Fallon is doing, and she's doing a wonderful job with that. We're trying to attract companies to come into Oklahoma to put bricks and mortar and jobs here. We once had a much larger insurance community in our state. So we're trying to attract those companies. What better place to be based in Oklahoma or in Lawton or Enid or Muskogee, Tulsa for jobs, bricks and mortar, call centers that insurance companies, they're good jobs for Oklahoma. So we're out there trying to build that coalition as well. But we're taking some time to kind of change that. And I think my executive experience from Marsh and Aon, working with Farmers Insurance. I was a senior vice president of acquisitions for Ascension Insurance, so I understand what businesses are looking for. So I think my background is very comprehensive and unique to the job which I have now, which I'm very proud of. I'm one of the guys that actually enjoy the insurance business, all aspects of it, because it's the total cost of risk. Insurance is, you kind of boil it down behind the scenes, it's pretty simple. It's severity and frequency of accidents, and it's financing of a loss that you're going to have, whether it be your personal home, auto, or a corporation dealing with a balance sheet issue. And we want to make sure that the capital markets out there stay solvent to be able to meet the needs of Oklahomans in all areas of our state. And we want to make sure that the consumers in rural Oklahoma have those options and the creativity of a capitalism market that works well. So I think that my background really helps with that. Political science degree from the University of Oklahoma, as you mentioned, and always been involved, wanting to be, had an interest in politics. So it's kind of an interesting crossroads for me to be able to bring that experience back. Governor Bellman once taught one of my classes at OU, so it's been a great experience this past year.
I know you're going to have another tornado preparedness summit in 2013, I guess.
That's right.
Have you got any of those plans working yet?
We do. We are going to try to have it at the same place, downtown Oklahoma City. We targeted to have about 400 people come in for this conference, and they said, Commissioner, you can't do it in 4 months. We had great partnership with our catastrophe team, which was led by Kim Decker of Farmers Insurance and John Weiskiver of Oklahoma Farm Bureau, and about 20 other individuals that helped bring that together. And we ended up having close to 826 people in from 20 different states. And it was a timely discussion about tornado preparedness. How can we impact and help consumers? We gave continuing education to the insurance agents and claims adjusters that were there. We brought in nationally renowned speakers. Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel came in and was one of our keynote speakers. Governor Fallon was there. Lieutenant Governor Lamb was there. But it was a very good discussion to have around with what's happened in the United States. Is Tornado Alley now reaches from the panhandle of Texas all the way to the coast in the Carolinas now, right? And there's actually the couple of days before the conference, there was 90 tornadoes on the ground in Kentucky and Tennessee. So these folks are now starting to pay attention, and we as Oklahomans know how to deal with this. And this gives us an opportunity, I think, to have an annual conference around how can we be better prepared, how can we help consumers. And next year we're looking to develop more of a consumer track where the general public could come in on maybe a Sunday afternoon and learn more about the catastrophe vehicles, some of the safe rooms that they're developing out there. But again, it's something I'm very proud about that we put together. And again, to have 800 folks come into Oklahoma City, it had a nice economic impact.
Never hurts.
And we're glad for that, right?
We appreciate it. John Doak, thanks very much for coming on The Verdict. Our time has gone quickly here, but we'll have to have you back on a future show.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you,
indeed.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
He is the Insurance Commissioner for the state of Oklahoma. John Doak, our guest today. Kent and I'll have a final word when we return.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens. to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
In Oklahoma, we enjoy a high quality of life due to good, well-paying jobs. Commercial real estate professionals play a significant role in bringing new businesses and investment to Oklahoma. The commercial real estate community has come together to market Oklahoma's commercial properties nationwide through a free public website, okcommercialproperty.com. We are invested in keeping Oklahoma strong and growing because economic development ensures quality of life.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
We lived on a family farm. We didn't have other families that lived close to us.
Right.
And we wanted our kids to grow up being friends. And so when they did grow up and disperse, it wasn't hard to acclimate to other parts of society or being a friend.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett and Kent Myers. We are wrapping up a show with Insurance Commissioner John Doak.
Well, what a talented, energetic fellow he is. I'm sure he's doing a fine job his first year and will continue.
Website information to reach John and his operation, you can go to www.ok.gov/OID. That's ok.gov/OID. We also have a website. We'd love to hear you there at theverdict.tv. That's theverdict.tv. Take a look and tell us about a guest or a topic you'd like to see discussed on a future edition, and we will get to it, I'm sure. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We're very glad you joined us here on The Verdict. We're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues, and we hope you'll make it a part of your weekly routine to join us right here. We'll see you next week.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.